Hello, everyone. I'm Marc. Time now for Sunday House Call.
And I'm Arthel Neville. Welcome. And joining us is Dr. David Samadi, Chairman and Professor of Urology at Lenox Hill Hospital and Chief of Robotic Surgery.
And Dr. Marc Siegel, Professor of Medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center and also the author of The Inner Pulse, Unlocking the Secret Code of Sickness and Health. Doctors,
good to see you. Yes. We'll get right to it because the CDC wants you to get your flu shot now before everyone starts traveling and sharing germs over the upcoming holidays. So is this year's vaccine a good match? Dr. Samadi, you're up first, and also who should get it and why?
Arthel, CDC thinks that as a result of what happened last year, and we didn't have a good match last year, and a lot of people were upset, that this year we think we got it right. We have to still see what's going to happen over the coming year because these viruses are getting smarter. They mutate, they shift, and they change as we are getting smarter with them. 200,000 people get hospitalized as a result of flu. And do you believe that 49,000 people die from influenza? So you got to be very careful. If you're too young, too old, immunocompromised system, your immune system is not working well, pregnant women, and also if you have chronic disease, asthma, bronchitis, heart disease, you should get the flu vaccine. And if you're over the age of 65, you should get the pneumococcal vaccine because a lot of times pneumonia is the reason why it will kill us. The reason why you would get this flu vaccine, and a lot of people tell me, well, I got the vaccine and I still got the cold, and that's part of the problem, is because you may have had the vaccine, you may have had the flu before you got the vaccine, because this is a dead virus. It's not supposed to cause this kind of influenza. So it's recommended for everyone to go out there. There's about
Marc, I've been going in and waiting. I mean, they go into the drugstore and they go, you want your flu shot? I'm like, well, not yet, because I'm waiting for the season to come. Well, I'm waiting to get the, no, I'm waiting for the season to start. Is it too early now?
Well, now's a good time because of what Arthel said at the very beginning. You're going to be traveling for the holidays, meeting a lot of people. The actual flu, Eric, usually doesn't peak until the end of January or February. You know why? Flu experts believe it's because the flu virus travels really well in low humidity. So earlier, while it's still humid, earlier in the season, it's not traveling. There's a 1 out of 4 attack rate with the flu, meaning of the 4 people here, if one of us had the flu, maybe one other person would get it. That's pretty contagious. So I'm all for getting as many people vaccinated as possible because you know why? David talked about the people you have to protect, like pregnant women, like young children, like the chronically ill. But what if you have one in your household? How bad would you feel if you're healthy and young, got the flu, and then transmitted it, God forbid, to a pregnant woman? Then you get early-term deliveries, you get miscarriages, you get even, God forbid, you can get a problem with the fetus later on. You know, after they're a child. You want to protect young children. Children cannot get the flu vaccine until they're 6 months old. I'm a big believer in creating what we call a ring of immunity, meaning get into that household and get as many people vaccinated as possible. It's been a tough sell this year because of the fact that there isn't a lot of flu around yet. David's point, it does look like it's a good match. Last year, the thing mutated in the middle of everything, and it didn't fit. This year, it looks like we're going to decrease the risks of going to a doctor by 60%. You could still get the flu, but you'll get a very, very mild case.
And that's another good reason why to go get it this year, because if you got it last year, people say, oh, well, I got it last year, why do I need to do it again? It's because the immunity is not going to last and these viruses changes. People who should not get the flu vaccines, younger than 6 months, if you have a severe allergic reaction, meaning that you get really sick from this, or some neurologic issues like Guillain-Barré, some weakness of the muscles, you should not get this and you should talk to your doctor, and that's important.
So, you know, you talk about Dr. Marc talked about the ring of immunity, and you, Dr. Samadi, just said that even at the age 6 months and above, you can get this flu shot. But we don't know how it's going to react in the body. And, of course, I'm not a parent, but parents are concerned about putting too much medication into the bodies.
You mean?
What?
Mercury and
No, I wasn't going there. Just vaccinations
but is
in
that
general.
is mercury in it?
So there is some mercury. There's also some formaldehyde in it. And the big concern that a lot of parents out there say, why do I need to put this poison in my kids? Forget about the autism, which is one discussion, but are there any other effects of formaldehyde, mercury, and everything else? The bottom line is, there's no real science to say one way or another. We know that the autism story is done. It doesn't cause it. But because the amount of formaldehyde is so small and the amount of mercury is so small, you can basically, if you have salmon 3-4 times a week, you may get the same amount of mercury. It doesn't really lead to any kind of problem for your children.
It's really been studied, well studied, and found to not be associated with autism, but we still have less than a 50% compliance rate in this country. Within the first 24 hours.
Compliance rate of getting flu shots?
That's right. It's not enough people getting it. Within the first 24 hours, by the way, if you get a sniffle, Arthel, or you get a little fever, or you get a muscle ache, that's not the flu. That's a little bit of an allergy to the flu vaccine. It's totally different. We can't seem to dispel that myth. You cannot get the flu from a flu shot.
But don't you feel horrible, though? And that's why people don't do it.
No, some people get a little
Yeah.
fluish. You take a Tylenol, you take an aspirin, you get the next day you're feeling great. And again, a 70% chance. And again, I call it the great enabler, because you know what? The biggest problem with the flu is not the flu itself. It's the pneumonia you get along with it, or the bronchitis, or if you have heart disease, you can get a heart attack when the flu hits you.
By the way, you can also boost your immune system starting now. So I always do this for myself. Taking vitamin D is a great asset for you because you can boost your immune system. Taking probiotics starting December onward is a good idea because your immune system is connected to your gut bacteria, and those are very important. We've talked about turmeric. We've talked about a lot of other things. Zinc is actually pretty good. We've talked about zinc. Vitamin C is a good idea, but the data is mixed, but I have no problem with that. And get enough rest and drink a lot of water. And that's really the key. But you're absolutely right, because flu vaccine is not just for yourself, it's for the entire society.
So after you shake my hand, Eric, after you shake my hand, you're going to wash that hand.
Oh, that's great. That's a good point. Wash your hands a lot, especially with the doorknobs and all that. But bottom line is, get the flu shot now.
And
to protect
please
yourself.
cough in your sleeve. This
Yes, like this.
This is the way you cough. You got it.
Do not cough in your
All
hands.
right, get the flu shot, and hopefully it'll be an easier season.